So the instrument panel looks really good with the white LEDs and the red needles. I did leave all of the factory warning lights original, just in case if I do get rid of this car in future and those lights do come on, people know what they are if they look them up, or if they go to a dealer. Some people do go by the colors. But the other thing that I'm noticing is my AC and heater control module. At night, it doesn't really show right now, but at night they're also kind of outdated. They got the factory old amber looking lights, you can kind of tell right there. And I want to change those out to LEDs, and that's what we're doing today. Alright, so to get started, the only tool you will need, it's a 10mm socket, or Phillips screw head driver works for this too. In my case, I don't need it because the person that got into this car before me, that screw is missing, and I'll show you where that is. But to start with, you got to move this tray. You just gently pull it up and then set that aside. The screw I'm talking about would be right here. You see mine is missing, but that's all you gotta do. You just gotta unscrew that and put your hand behind it and then just gently pull it out like that. It's not hard, it's pretty simple. And then you want to do the same thing on top here, and it comes apart pretty easy. Now what you want to do is you want to unplug this, but I do recommend to take your battery off, just in case if this, sometimes because of the passenger airbag, it does trigger the airbag lights to come on if you don't take the battery off the car and the power off completely. But in this case, I will do that later and then come and unplug it, but I just wanted to show you guys.
Alright guys, so I apologize about the voiceover first, but the reason for me doing this, it ended up being too loud and it was too crowded in my house, and my kid was right next to me, didn't want to leave, so I decided to do a voiceover. So where I'm pointing right now, those are the lights that we're going to have to pay attention to, and they're pretty easy to take out. Honestly, very simple. All you gotta do is twist one and give it a light tap, and it should fall into your hand. I'm about to do or take one out here pretty soon and I'll show you the difference, because there is two different lights, one of them being smaller than the other. So the bigger one would be for your LCD screen, just because that needs a little more light outage. So this one is the smaller one. This was for the airbag side, and then the bigger one I'll show you here in a second, and that's the bigger one. So we'll replace the bulbs only, so we're gonna need the housing, but here those are, so again, that's where I was pointing, that's where the bigger ones are. And then the lights are going to look like this, and they come, I mean, all of these were pretty cheap on Amazon. I'll leave a link down in the description area, but those are the bulbs. So they are LED bulbs. So one thing to again pay attention here, every LED bulb is a negative and a positive terminal, but it's very simple to replace. So you'll take the old bulb out of the housing, and you will need to follow the same directions in reverse when you're putting the new bulb in, and you'll see that. So I'm pulling that one out here pretty soon, just like so, and then to put the new one in, we'll just have to drop it in like that, and then again follow the same directions as when you took the old one off. So the camera placement is not very good either, and I do apologize about it. I'm recording on my phone right now. Actually, my camera broke down on me, and haven't had a chance to buy another one. And also, this footage is a little older, but I've had a couple of people ask me after my last video, hey, show me, they've asked me to do a video on how to change the bulbs to LEDs on this module here. So these come a little longer. You will need to snip them off after you're done toggling it. So that's how you're going to need to do them. But yeah, you snip them off right through there so they sit flush in the housing. And then later on when you come back, you will need to press them down in the groove. There's a little groove in the housings. You'll need to press the silver parts like I'm doing with the pliers here, just so they're, you know, tucked into place and not moving around. One thing you will need to pay attention to again is when you're putting it back into your board, and if they didn't come on, you will need to take them out and put them on the other way. And the reason for that is because it is a negative and positive, so you will need to focus on those two terminals, because it is LED bulbs, and all LED bulbs require the correct negative and the correct positive. So I mean, I had to play with that a couple of times. I'll drop them in, and if they didn't work, I'll take it off, I'll take it back out, and then put it in the other way around, and then it should work. But that's it, and you're just gonna have to do it all of them like that.
All right, we're done putting all the lights in. Replaced all the lights with the LEDs. The only light I didn't replace would have been the airbag light. That's because it's a little harder to get to, so I didn't replace that, but everything else is replaced back to LEDs. Now I'm going to plug it back in and test it and see how it turned out. So let's do that quick. It's kind of challenging with one hand, but hold on one second. Alright, so it's the same process in reverse, and you just put those pins back in there, clip them on, and the bottom pins, they should go in place like so. Alright, so far it's working, so let's test it out quick. Just turn the lights on and see how they're going to turn out. And there it is. Back to LEDs. They look pretty good. It's kind of I know to test the LCD you gotta turn the car on or turn the ignition to an on position, and there it is. Looking pretty good.